we're going to talk about pulling off cooking once and eating twice with a simple recipe, but not bland. So really what we're talking about here is taking a tough cut of beef and making it something spectacular. Yeah. I've got a ribeye here. That's about a $25 piece of steak.
Wait, this one?
Absolutely.
The little guy.
This is about 25 bucks, and that's the ribeye, and this is the shoulder, okay? And that's also about 25 bucks.
Wow.
So once you figure out how to cook that, you're laughing.
So by the shoulder, especially if you have a family of 4, you can eat off, the whole family can eat off of that.
This is a special occasion kind of cut. I mean, there's natural marbling here. It's naturally tender, whereas the shoulder is full of muscle, full of connective tissue here. So it's inherently tough. It takes more time, it takes a little bit of skill, but if you figure out how to make a cut like this really tender, I mean, look at how far I can stretch something.
Stretch your dollar with that big one.
Right?
That's massive.
Let's get the bigger cut of meat makes more sense.
Absolutely.
Right? Financially.
So, Andrea, you're taking basically in that pot, you've got pieces of my shoulder, which I've broken down, I've trimmed away some of the fat, I've trimmed away some of the connective tissue, and I made little cubes here, and you're doing a great job of searing all this meat.
Okay, so just keep turning it around?
Yeah.
Because they say not to fuss with your food too much when you cook.
That. Well, exactly. You want to sear hard on each side kind of thing, and once you get the caramelization, you can put on the other side, you can flip.
So I have to take all of the meat out. Why can't I just put everything in the same pot once it's seared?
Well, what I want you to do, and that's also a great question, once you sear and you get your souk and your brown bits, you want to deglaze. So that's the only reason why we're removing the meat from the pot. Then I'm going to go in with my mirepoix. That's onion, carrot, and celery, a little bit of garlic, and some salt. And you'll notice that I'm doing this even before I go in with my wine. Most people go right away with the wine. I'm going to sweat the veg out a little bit, and the natural moisture in the veg
and it's going to take up the souk and like get that flavor.
It's going to start.
Yes, I'm getting it.
So you can smell. You can smell.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, let me. I'm like, let me do it, chef. I think I can do it.
Jessi and I are sweating the veg.
We're sweating the veg.
We're sweating the veg right
now. I'll go. Andrew, you're
First
doing
a
great.
cupcake, and now pasta. I'm just unbuttoning it.
And how much?
Top and the top
Now,
button.
how much wine? And does it matter if I'm feeding children if I put a little red wine?
Yeah, you know what? When you deglaze, and actually oftentimes when you cook with wine, you want to reduce the wine almost by 9/10. 90%. You almost want to reduce it away to nothing. The essence of the wine will still be there.
Okay.
And then I go in with a little bit of tomato paste here.
And now, why not just like chopped up tomatoes?
Great question. So you can do that as well.
I'm full of great questions
You're
today.
on fire today.
I'm cooking.
You're on fire.
I'm cooking.
Whether you use tomatoes or not,
Yeah.
I like to put a little paste at the beginning for some body. It really gives us body, depth of flavor. So tomato paste for me, no matter what. In this instance, we're actually not using tomato, which you can. And you told me yesterday that you were going to make something like this, but you didn't have tomato.
I didn't. Because or passata. I didn't have.
Or passata, crushed
Okay,
tomato.
now we're putting the pieces of meat back in.
Now
pieces
we'll
of
return
shoulder.
the meat. So pretend we reduced our wine a little bit more, but then we'll return our meat, cover it with liquid almost all the way, and then we start the braising. So we've done what we wanted to do with our sear, our caramelization, our deglaze. The meat goes back. I've got a nice beef stock here.
And is this a homemade stock?
This is a homemade stock, but if you don't have homemade stock,
You can just buy it, right?
You can buy it. Use low sodium stock.
Low sodium.
Oftentimes, the store-bought stock is quite salty, and then what happens is if we reduce down our braise, it could get really salty.
And you don't want that.
So we always want to control our seasoning. Low sodium stock, and then I can control throughout the cooking process how much salt, how much pepper, how much seasoning I can put.
Okay, so at this point, I would cover this over and I put it on a high heat or a medium
You're
heat?
gonna cover it. You could do it stovetop, or you can finish it in oven. I prefer actually an oven, 325, 2 to 3 hours, depending on the size of your meat. And the reason why I prefer an oven, I can control my heat. Oftentimes, if you're braising on a stovetop, you don't want it to go too high. If you boil too high, your meat will get tough.
All right, so what are we doing over here? Should I be tying something off
You
here,
should tie this because I almost forgot before I put a lid on this. This is a little bouquet garni. A bouquet garni is when you have aromatic herbs. I've got thyme, rosemary, bay leaf, and I've tied it up just with
a knot?
Yeah,
Okay.
just with a butcher's twine. You can do this in a cheesecloth and really pack it in there, and then you kind of throw it in. And this is a great way to introduce those aromatics and then pull it out when you're done the cooking process.
That looks like a cute little potpourri. Can I put that in my underwear drawer, too?
Underwear, light it on fire, do whatever you want to do. Okay? This is going to go in 2 to 3 hours, 325 degrees, low and slow, and then we'll pull it up. Okay.
Let's do it.
So, guys, I've got my braise here. 3 hours later, look, that's what it looks like.
Let's
And I've
applaud the
shredded up
braise.
beef.
That looks spectacular.
A nice, cheap cut of beef can be something spectacular. Give it some time.
You've also stretched it.
And
You
I've
stretched
pulled
that
it.
dollar for
So
the
after
family.
it's braised, I kind of take my tongs and you pull apart the meat. It should be so tender that all that connective tissue and the muscle has broken down and it turned into this, like, you could do this with pork, beef, you could do it with chicken legs, and it'll just kind of shred into a ragu. Really amazing.
Nice.
Now, the best way to toss pasta and sauce is actually to do it separately. So I've taken some of my ragu here, I put it in a pan. I've reduced it down a little bit. And you would say, like, this is a little too dry to be a sauce.
Yeah.
The trick is to cook your pasta, which I've done here. I'm going to take a little bit of rigatoni. And this shape, you see, has the grooves.
Little grooves.
Very traditional. You need the grooves to kind of adhere to this meat sauce that we worked so hard on.
That's what it's for.
That's what it's there for. So I take some of this, and then, of course, the secret is the starchy cooking water. There's all that starch.
So don't throw out the water.
Never throw out the water.
I always throw out the water.
No.
Me too.
Never. Okay.
When
so
I was a
use it.
kid, my mom would rinse spaghetti underwater because she's
Yes.
Egyptian, not Italian. And she'd be like, this is the way you're supposed to do it. I'm like, really? Even as an 8-year-old, I was like, this has to be wrong. And it was.
I think I was told to rinse it under cold water.
No.
Yeah.
The starch is your best friend. It's going to help it stick to the pasta.
We know now, chef, but we didn't know before.
So the key is you want to use the water to bring it to the point where you can toss it to the point of no resistance. There's not a pile of sauce on the bottom, but it comes back. Now, Andrea, give me some pecorino here, beautiful sheep cheese.
All right.
Oh, my. And when you put the cheese directly in, every bite is going to get cheese, and also it's going to tighten up. All right, easy, Andrew.
No, you know when the waiter says, tell me when? I'm like, you're going to break your arm because it's never going to be when.
Oh, my gosh.
Never going to be when.
Food costs, Andrew.
There we go.
You grate it right into the pan.
You go right into the pan.
This
If you
is
need another
genius.
splash, you take another splash,
You need more cheese?
and you loosen it up.
You need more
And
cheese?
Give me a little more.
All
Is
right.
pecorino going to give us a different flavor than Parmesan?
Absolutely. Pecorino is a very forward-flavored cheese. It's a sheep's milk cheese.
Okay.
It's really nutty and nuanced. I love pecorino. And pecorino is really used in Roman cooking. So it's a beautiful cheese to experiment with. It is quite a strong cheese. So even if you want to go half pecorino, half Parmigiano Reggiano, or half pecorino, half Grana Padano, lovely ideas.
Because it's so strong, if I were, should I do it with chicken? Should I have this type of
Sure,
chicken? Or
sure.
Okay, it's okay.
It's a real traditional cheese. So now you can see a great pasta is dressed almost like a great salad. It's not overdressed, not underdressed.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
More
Although,
cheese.
I'll tell you something. You know what this is? I just read my mind. I'm like, you know what this is missing?
More cheese.
Missing cheese.
Oh.
I don't think there's enough cheese
And
here.
you never want to see a puddle of sauce in the bottom. That's too much.
No?
No.
Sorry, I've been doing it all
Every
wrong.
piece should be coated, and then your pan should have no resistance, and that's the way to properly coat pasta and sauce.
Tell me when, Shahir. Tell me when.
You tell me. You're killing my food cost here. No, you're doing great. I'm not inviting you to my restaurant ever
Why
again. you know
not?
that.
Because I'm going to use up all the cheese?
Use up all our
pretty well.
But
profits.
it's going
Now,
to taste so good.
fresh basil, just whole leaves. It smells so good already.
Oh, that does. Very
You
aromatic.
can rip it up a little bit.
And this ragu sauce, this would be awesome to freeze, wouldn't it?
You can. You're always looking to freeze
Yes,
stuff.
See?
Stephen loves
But yes,
Freezing
you
is a good
can
thing to
freeze.
do.
You know,
Wouldn't that be
we've
nice?
often talked about this when we make ragus. You freeze the ragu, but then assemble after you thaw it out. You never want to freeze the whole thing.
Never freeze pasta.
No.
A little drizzle.
A little drizzle of good olive oil.
Wow.
Why not? Why not? How come we can't freeze it? You have all
Why
the
would you
grooves.
freeze pasta? We're not in the hospital.
I want to save it for next week.
No. Next week, make the pasta. Now, guys, you have bread over there? Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I want you to rip the bread, so you've been eating the whole time. Rip a
Okay.
piece of bread. This whole... Steven, you're eating like a
I am.
horse today.
I kind of,
we're
a
really
lot.
getting-
And you want to take that hard-earned
Oh,
sauce.
Shahir.
This is so important. There's a phrase for this. Scarpetta.
Scarpetta.
Italians make this so important, the process of getting the bread with the remaining sauce at the bottom. Scarpetta is the term. So you want to always really enjoy
Okay.
the process of making and enjoying this sauce, okay? Andrea, it looks good.
Yeah,
Now,
don't mind me. I'm just eating.
we said we would turn this into 2 separate meals. So I've got my ragu here, and
Yeah.
I'm going to make individual lasagnas, which are amazing for dinner parties because you
Yeah.
can do them ahead of time. Your guests come over, you throw them in the oven, and you're good to go.
Okay.
So I've got fresh pasta sheets. You can find these in a grocery store. You can make them from scratch, which one day we will do on this show.
But we're going to buy them for now.
But for now, we're going to buy them. Andrew, you can take your tool.
Yeah.
Here you go.
All right.
And you're going to punch out a circle. So I've got kind of like a cookie cutter here, okay? There you
All
go.
right, I got my circle.
And very important with the can that I'm using here, I'm going to assemble these lasagnas in the can so that it keeps its shape. And you can see with a can opener, I've taken the top and I've taken the bottom off. You need to use a can with the ridges. So this used to be creamed corn. It was delicious. And high quality creamed corn. And then I cleared it out, cleaned it up, took off the top and the bottom. And that way we can assemble our lasagnas here, our miniature lasagnas, right inside.
Isn't that cool, guys? That's cool.
There you go, Andrew. We're gonna layer with our ragu. One for you, one for me.
And I can make this vegetarian, right? I can do it with just
Sure.
a plain
And so what are we
Tomato
doing?
sauce?
You could do it meat-free. You could do it with mushrooms to replace the meat. We'll give you a umami punch, which is really nice.
Yeah.
We always make lentils for you. I don't know why. You know, we always go lentils.
So many lentils.
But you could use chickpea. You could go just vegetarian veggies. It's really delicious. And then we'll go in with some mozzarella cheese. Now, you can also get creative and layer with more bechamel. You can go different types of cheeses. You can put herbs in here if you want.
Can I put more of my cheese?
You're going to go nuts with the cheese anyway, so you might as well go for it.
But I need a little, hit me
I'm
with
going to give you a little more of this here.
And the great thing for those, you get the stack then, and then they won't tip over, slide over, you bake them. That's the whole point, right?
Exactly, and you'll get this really elegant shape. So once you keep assembling these, and Andrew's eating all the cheese in your house,
I like cheese.
you throw them in a nice oven, 350, 375 for about half an hour. And here's the trick. They come out.
Oh, you have a finished one.
I have a finished one through the magic of TV.
Aha!
I always wanted to say that. And so you got it here. Now here's the important trick. You gotta let it rest for a few minutes. It's really tricky to get out of the thing. You might want to spray it with a little non-cooked spray on the inside if you want.
And isn't this gonna be piping hot?
It's gonna be piping hot, so you want to support it with a towel if need be. But I've rested these for about 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
Now you might think they cool down too much, but really they're insulated here and they're really, really still warm and hot. So you run the edges with your knife.
Wow.
If you do it right out of the oven, it's too hard. It might not come out clean.
But it doesn't matter if it's not perfect.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
That looks
Wow, those are very sweet.
impressive.
Oh, it's delicious.
And then you don't have to say, oh, just a little piece for me. Oh, I want a big.
No.
Everybody gets an individual piece.
Well, you don't have to
Exactly.
fight for the corner.
Oh, I
Everybody
love
likes the corner.
Oh, yeah.
The corner of that lasagna, right?
Every piece is like a corner.
Crispy
I love it.
Oh, wow, look at it, crispy on the bottom.
I love
and
it.
the top.
Do we need more cheese?
Yeah.
Yeah, we always need more cheese.
yeah.
Cheese
Go
it up.
for it.
All right.
Do you love food? Do you love me? If you said yes to both of these things, you're in luck. And if you said yes to one of these things, shame on you. I'm adorable. Hit subscribe right now for new and exciting recipes, trends, and much more, especially from me.